Okay, let's start our today's lecture. First of all, there are some instructions for you which you have to follow, that your attendance is mandatory. Please mark your attendance first. Be active and focused. Keep your relevant books and stationery with you. In the end, I have given some homework for the extensive and short questions. You have to do them on your notebook. Okay, so let's start the lecture. Chapter number 2, programming in C. As we have already discussed this chapter in the in school lectures. The last topic which was left is rules for specifying variable names. Actually, we have done this topic in the class as well, but I am repeating this topic so that it will be more clear to you. First of all, mark your attendance, please. Okay. Okay, let's start our today's lecture with some rules for specifying the variable's name. As we have discussed in the class that there are some rules for writing the C program, especially when we are writing the C program, there are some rules for specifying the variable names. And these rules start with, there are totally 6 rules which are to be specified while writing the C program. First of all, wait. Okay. The first rule is the variable name can only contain the following characters. What characters are those? The characters are A to Z. The other one is A to small z. The other one is 0 to 9. And the last one is underscore. Okay. While writing the variable name, the first rule is that we cannot use the special characters. The special characters are like, I can say the special characters are dollar. The special characters are uh, some special character like inverted commas, or we can say circle, or any special characters. We cannot use the variable name with a special character. We can only use A to small, capital A to capital Z, small a to small z, 0 to 9 numbers, or underscore. The only special character is underscore, which we can easily use, right? The next, the next rule is that we can start the variable name, that we can start that as there is written, the underscore may be used to improve readability. We have discussed this, that we can only use underscore, right? And we can use we cannot use the special characters. The next one is that variable name can start with az or underscore, but it can't be with digit. For example, if I can write int x1, so this is wrong, that the variable name cannot be start with digit, right? The other one is that the variables cannot be start with reserved words. What are the reserved words? There are a table of reserved words in our book. So as I have already told you, that you have to remember that reserved words, that the variables cannot be start with those reserved words, right? Number 4th one is the case sensitive. The case sensitive means that if you are using the uppercase, start with the uppercase. If you are using the small, lowercase, you have to use the lowercase. For example, if you can write AVG, or if you can write A, B, or G. This means average, but this means abbreviation. So the letters must be case sensitive, right? The next one is that it must be unique, right? The letters must be unique. Or if the next one is, I can say that there should be no space in between the words. For example, if I am writing math, I have to write it like this. I cannot write the words with the space, right? So These are the rules which we have to follow while writing the variable names in C type. Now there are some data types used in C programs, and that there are actually, what are the data types? Data types are actually the programs, they are used in the programs. They are used to declare the variable. Data types are used to declare the variables. Actually, there are two types of data types, or I can say three types of main data types. First of all, I can say that there are two types, primary and secondary. Then I will further rearrange it into data types, which are basic data types, derived data types, and user defined data types. There are three types of data types, which are basic data type, right? Derived data type, and the third one is user defined data type. Now, what are derived data type, what are basic data types, and what are user defined data types? Our main focus in this chapter is on the basic data types and derived data type, only the basic data types. There are four basic data types. These are four basic data types. Four basic data types are, first of all, the first one is INT, as there is written INT. The next one is CHAR, character. The next one is float. And the last one is double. Right? Four basic data types: INT, character, float, and double. Now, what are INTs? What are characters? What are floats? And what are double? First of all, I will start with INT. INT are those data types which contains the integer values. The integer values means that it holds, first of all, the first character is they include the integer data type. Then integer values. Then the next one is they hold only 2 bytes of space in the memory. First, they contains values, integers, values. The next one is they hold only 2 bytes of space. They hold only 2 bytes of space in the memory. And their range is -32768 up till positive 32768. Now, this is the range. This is the characteristics of the first data type, which is integers. First of all, they contain the values integers. Second one is they hold only 2 bytes of space in the memory. And the third one, their range is -32768 to 32 positive 768, right? The next one is character. Now, what are the characters? The variable of type character holds some special single ASCII character enclosed within 2 single quotes. They enclosed within 2 single quotes, and they occupied only 1 byte of space in the memory. The variable of type character, they hold a single ASCII code character enclosed within 2 single quotes and occupy 1 byte of space in the memory. Their range is -128 to positive 127, right? For example, if I can say CHAR, comma, ARR, semicolon, right? While this is their syntax to write the character code. Now the third one is float. What are the float data type? Float data type hold values with decimal points. Now, what are the decimal points? What are their range? Decimal points, and they occupied their 4 byte memory space. Integer type holds 2 byte of memory space. Character type hold 1 byte of memory space. And float variables hold 4 bytes of memory space, right? Their range is 3.14 E up till 3.4e plus 38. Now I can say that the float variable, the example of float is 5. Their value is 3.1427. What is the value of whatever the number is in decimal? We take the character float variables, right? Float data type. Now, the last one is double. What is double? First of all, double occupied. The name specifies that double occupied 8 bytes of memory space with decimal point. It also represents the decimal points, but it takes 8 bytes of memory space, right? Now the next one is, these are the data types. The main data types are INT. Basic, we have only discussed the basic data types that are INT, that are character, float, and double. Clear? The next one is, now this is the frequency range. As I have told you already, that float contains 4 bytes. Double float contains 8 bytes. Long double float contains 10 bytes of space in the memory, right? Now, the next one is modifiers or qualifiers. What are the modifiers and what are the qualifiers? Modifiers are actually used to modify the basic data type. If we have entered the data type of INT, the basic data type, and we have to modify it, then we will use the modifiers or qualifiers. Then now, what is meant by modifiers? How many modifiers are there? There are 4 modifiers actually. One is signed, other one is unsigned, next is short, the last one is long, right? If we are taking both the numbers, positive and the negative, then we are talking about signed. If we are if we are talking about only negative, then we are taking unsigned. If we are using half the basic data type, this is short. If we are taking the double data type, it is long. So actually, there are 4 types of modifiers. Now I will give you an example of modifier, that how the modifier work in our programming. So for example, if I have written a number which is of 8 bit, if a programmer has written a number which is 8 bit, actually this is casting. When we are talking about the qualifiers and modifiers, we are simultaneously talking about the type casting. The type casting is of 2 types. It is of implicit and explicit. I have given the short questions and long questions. In that topic, we have discussed the implicit and explicit type of casting. So I'm giving the example of 8-bit. For example, if I have written a number which is of 8-bit, right? And I have given another number which is of 16-bit, right? So what is the difference? If the computer will run the program, it will take, the first one is 8-bit and the other one is 16-bit. How it will take, how he will add A plus B, if this is A and this is B, it cannot be possible for him to add A plus B. So he will convert this 8-bit into 16-bit. How he will convert this 8-bit into 16-bit? He will do it by himself. The compiler will do it by himself. This is known as implicit casting, where the compiler himself do it and there is no loss of information. 8-bit means the number is specified in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 60 bits mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now, it is impossible that he will add A and B. He will convert this A into 16-bit. How he will convert? Whenever he have to convert this 8-bit or any of the number, he will simply add 0 before, right? He will add 8 zeros to make it 16-bit. Now, this is a 16-bit number, this is a 16-bit number. He will add those 2 numbers, right? So, this is actually done in implicit casting. Implicit casting, where the compiler will do this by himself. But when we are talking about the explicit casting, then we will do the casting by ourselves. And there is a great loss of information while we are doing the casting and while system is doing the casting. If the system is doing the casting, the compiler is doing the casting, there is no loss of information. But if we are doing the casting, there is a lot of chances that there will be a loss of information, right? So I will go straight towards the short question answers, so it will be clear to you the concept of casting and typecasting. First of all, we have left this question in the class. Question number 7 of short questions. Which of the following are valid C variables? Give the reason. If not a variable, variable area, 5 times, matlab 5x, sum, net pay, float underscore age, else, case, size 22, my underscore weight. So we have to actually recognize that which of the variables are valid and which are not valid. So first of all, if I am talking about the valid variables, the valid variables are my underscore weight, area, size 22 and sum, right? Yes, Hari, what is the question?
मैम ये आप काम सेंड करेंगी गूगल क्लासरूम में?
Yes, this will be uploaded on your GC.
Okay.
Okay, so there are some valid variables and there are some not valid variables. As we have discussed the specified rules of writing the variables, that they can only they will be only underscored. It will be start with the capital A or small z up to small z, small a, small z. It will not be start with some numbers, or it will not be start with the special characters. So the valid variables are my underscore weight, area, size 22 and sum. This 5x will not be the valid variable because the variable cannot be start with number. Net pay. Space can't be used in variable name. So if we have to write net pay, we have to write it with underscore, net underscore pay, right? Float. Why this float will not be the specific variables? Because data type can't be used as variable names, right? The float is the data type, so we cannot use the data type's name in the variables. Underscore age, it will not be the specified because the variable name should not be start with special character. Else the command cannot be used as variable names. Case, the commands cannot be used as variable names, right? So this was the question number 7 of short questions from the exercise 2. The next one is, yes, Hassan?
Ma'am, else or case reserve wording.
Yes, they are the reserved words. And we can use it as a command. Na? If this, then this, else this, right? We have written in the algorithms the if and else statements. Okay. The next question is typecasting. As I have already told you about the typecasting, that what is typecasting, there are two types of typecasting. Actually, in C, when we are discussing about the typecasting, in C, we can convert the variable from one data type to another data type, right? When we are converting the variable from one data type to another data type, we are during the execution. It will be happen during the execution. We are actually using typecasting. Now, as I have already told you that there are two types of typecasting. One is implicit and one is explicit, right? If you can see that this is implicit and this is explicit. In implicit, as I have told you, that the compiler will do the typecasting by himself, right? If the number is 8-bit and the other number is 16-bit, he will convert the 8-bit into 16-bit by himself, right? Now, let's talk about the explicit typecasting. When the programmer will do the casting during the program, it will be known as explicit typecasting, right? For example, I am giving you an example. Float x is equal 3.435, semicolon, right? Now, what the programmer will do? This is explicit typecasting, where the programmer is giving the syntax. Integer y is equals integer bracket close x. Now what he is doing, he wants this float variable to convert this float into integer type, right? Now the programmer wants this float variable to convert into integer type. How he will do and how the system will take this? See this, if x is a float variable, right? If x is float, then convert it into int, right? Integer. So float takes decimal values, but int cannot be take decimal value. It will convert this 3.455 into 3, right? So there are chances of loss of information because it seems to be a small 0.455 difference, but in long time it will be a huge difference while while the programmer will convert this program into from float to into int, the answer will be 3, right? When compiler will do this, there is less loss of information, or while there is no loss of information, but when we are doing this, then there is a loss of information. 3.455 from float to convert into int will become only 3. There is a difference of 0.455, right? So this is the explicit type of typecasting. Now I can give you another example. For example, there is a case int a is equals 10, right, comma b equals 3. Clear? What I have to do, I convert this I want to convert this into float. I will write float c a over b. Now what the system will do, I have given the command that convert this int into float c a over b. Actually 10 by 3 means 3.33, right? But what system will do, float c, instead float is taking the decimal values, but when I am giving the instructions to the computer, it will be first dividing this product, dividing the values, then it will convert into float. But the while dividing the values into integer, it will only give the answer 3. So there is a loss of information that it will not convert it into float. It simply gives the answer 3, right? So this is the loss of information while we are doing the changes, or while we are doing the typecasting. Now there is another case. Int a is equals 10, b is equals 3. Float c is equals bracket float a over b. I want this 10 and 3 dividing into float, right? According to this bracket, this is in the bracket and this is not in the bracket, right? When this float is in the bracket, it is known as type union, right? So what I have to do, what the system will do as float c equals 10.0 divide 3.0, and the answer will be 3.3. So this is the right way to convert the integer into float. Clear? So this was the second case, as I have told you the first case where the chances are more, and this is the second case, right? Okay. Now the next one is, as I will upload these questions in the Google Classroom, and you have to write all these answer questions which we have left in the classroom in your notebooks, right? This is the example. This is the example of typecasting in C language. Why we do the typecasting, how the typecasting will be done. So this is the short question. This is the extensive long questions, right? And the next one is there is a detailed note on implicit and explicit typecasting. I will explain this example as well. Explicit typecasting example. For example, in the program given below, the programmer converts the division of two numbers into float. As I have told you that the programmer will convert the division of the program integer value into float. I will give you another case where x is equals, where I will start with int, a equals 10, b equals 3. Float c equals, now see this, float is in the bracket and a by b will also be in the bracket. Now what computer will do? Float, putting the values of a and b, 10 by 3. Now both the numbers are in the bracket. What computer will do? When both the numbers are in the bracket, this is an associativity property where the computer will take from right to left. It will first float, first divide, then float. Now float 3, convert this into float 3 means convert this into decimal. The answer will be 3.3. So this is actually explicit and implicit typecasting of different cases. Now, if you have any questions, then please raise your hands. So this is all about the today's lecture. If you have any questions, please raise your hands. Have you all marked your attendance? Yes, Hassan.
मैम इसमें प्रिंट एफ के आगे रिजल्ट कॉलन %f लिखा हुआ है, %f क्यों लिखा हुआ है?
Because we are actually taking the float value.
और अगर %d लिखा जाए?
Then we are taking the integer value. Right? And we have done some 2 programs in the class as well. So we will definitely be doing some other programming concepts, and we will be doing implicit and explicit typecasting as well, the program of implicit and explicit typecasting in the class, right? So if you have any other question related to this, then please raise your hands. And you have your homework, you have to write the remaining question answers in your notebooks, right? We have done many of the question answers in the notebooks, but the remaining question answers, like the short question number 7, and explicit and implicit typecasting and the typecasting, these questions will be left. So you have to solve these in your notebooks, right? If you have any questions, then please raise your hand, or else I am going to end the meeting. This lecture will be uploaded on your Google Classroom. Right? Okay. Okay, class. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Allah Hafiz.